Wandering Jewess from the hotel right on the bank of the Nile in Aswan. How exciting is that? I'm going to sleep because we're waking up tomorrow uber early. We're waking up at 4 a.m. We need to get going at before 5. We are going to Abu Simbel Temple tomorrow. We're going to have a 4-hour drive there and a 4-hour drive back to Aswan. The city so far has been incredible. Things that, I'm saying incredible, but I've only been to like the touristy parts of it, so that being mentioned, important to notice. I do want to mention a few topics. First of all, temples. Ancient Egypt is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Not to disservice Israel from what there is to see there, because I feel like Israel. So here, the remainings are so phenomenal, and like nothing I've ever seen before, and it wowed me to an extent that I can't even. I didn't have enough time to process, to comprehend what I saw. I took loads of pictures that hopefully I can connect the right picture to the right temple slash pharaoh slash tomb slash mummy slash just whatever, and hopefully I can do that. And other than that, but the things that I see there are not connected to my culture so much. So I have to, and I do know a lot about it, even relatively to others who come there. I'm thinking of people who come here without any background. Like I studied about the pharaohs, about ancient Egypt, because the history of ancient Israel has to do a lot with ancient Egypt. So I studied a lot about that. So I have some context. But I can't imagine people who come here without context. That can just be exhausting to your brain. Fortunately, it's beautiful enough to just cover for the fact that you don't know what you're looking at. So it's like going to a museum that's like that is so incredibly wow, with like such a big wow effect that you don't really have to know what you're seeing. It's like going to a really, really good concert with a lot of effects. So you don't really have to know what you're seeing. You just know that this is a wow show. So Egypt I'll define as a wow show. Where in Israel there is a wow effect, definitely, but it's connected to everyone's culture and everyone's issues, where I feel it is more complex, and it's really hitting home in a way. So that's my experience. Other than that, this is definitely. Let me adjust this just a little bit. I do want you to see behind me, by the way, the Nile River and the other side of the other side of the bank, and it's beautiful. We're right on the bank of the river. Just from here, you just go down that road and down the stairs and into a boat to the other side of the city. We're on the island of Yeb, that used to be heavily populated with Jews. Not anymore. We are currently repopulating the island with Jews. It's been a lot of days, and I do have videos from previous days that I haven't edited yet. I feel like I'm going to release this one just the way it is, because I just want to start releasing stuff. So that's going to go. But I will edit the other ones, and I will release them. See how you guys deal with a little more of me, like a few good minutes of me talking. We'll see how that goes. I'm trying to follow the page and see how that works. But I'm very tired. These days are very busy. A few topics that I want to mention. The fact that this is a third world country is felt to an extent. Egypt has a population of 100 million people, and the municipalities and the government are just collapsing under the burden of people, the burden of population. It's really, really felt. Garbage in the streets everywhere. I posted about that today. Hopefully some of you read. Garbage in the streets everywhere. There are just, and agriculture is not even close to provide for, it's not, people are not people don't seem hungry at all. You don't see hungry people sitting in the corners of streets. There isn't hunger. But agriculture is still really far behind. And one of the reasons for that, so up in the north, where most of the people are, there will be more advanced agriculture, just a little bit. But here in the south, about 40% of Egypt's population lives in the south, in the villages. Not just in the south, but in the villages. Now, for those of you who don't know, Egypt is basically the Nile River. And wherever there's the Nile, because this is where there's water, this is where people are going to live. And everywhere beyond that is sheer desert, nothing. On some places, the entire inhabited area, like there is a Nile, and then the entire inhabited area would be something like, I don't know, 20 meters, and then there's desert. And I can show pictures of that. So maybe I'll post some photos of that later and write about that. So in these areas, in the village areas, the agricultural areas, they don't have an incentive to invest in modern agriculture because there is huge unemployment here. We asked the person, the guide who's chaperoning us here, what's the percentage of unemployment in Egypt. He said about 7, and that it used to be 12 during the time of the Muslim Brotherhood and everything else. But this doesn't seem like the case because you see people unemployed everywhere. And my professor said that people here, there's a lot of what they call an unseen unemployment, where people are just, the government sort of fixes jobs for people so that they will, quote unquote, have a job, but they don't really have anything to do. And then the problem is 40% of the population lives in the villages. That means 40 million people. 40 million people live in the villages here. And if you get the agriculture to be advanced, and when I say that now it's not advanced, I mean that they're still bringing water from the Nile to flood to flood their areas and everything else, and it's just, you see people walking in the mud and plowing by hand and everything else. And he says that the reason, and there are a few cooperatives where there are a few villagers or a few villages kind of organized together to try and have a bigger, to try and join forces and make a bigger profit. But the reason why the government doesn't push that and doesn't like that is because if agriculture will be more modern and more efficient, all these people are going to come to the cities looking for jobs, and there aren't jobs. So it's just, there's just too many people. And this is a serious problem. Now, it's a serious problem also because in a lot of places, they realize that the fact that the population is growing is gonna end very badly for a lot. I mean, it's going to end very bad. And then here in Egypt, I know that they tried to limit the birth, but it didn't work because a lot of Islamic movements that just kind of prevented that from happening. So this is not going to end well. But this is basically a ticking time bomb. I don't know what's going to happen. Egypt is doubling its population every 23 years. So think that, and as heavily populated as this place is, 100 million people living from the only artery of life, which is the Nile River, in 23 years, that means in 2040, around 2042, there are going to be 200 million people here. How are they going to live? How are they going to survive? What are they going to live out of? It's absolutely insane. That's just, it's a shock. Not that I didn't know. By the way, I knew a lot of the things that I'm telling you right now, but this is definitely, seeing it with my own eyes, definitely got to me. And that's a serious experience. Another thing is the way women are being treated here, and specifically the way I'm being treated here. I have to say that my experience as a woman, I hope you guys can hear me because the noise is getting pretty bad. So, oh God, yeah, maybe that's a little bit of a problem. I'll try and see how this works. So, changed location. I have to speak a little lower now, but at least there is no noise around here. Um, I just want to say that as a woman, I really don't feel safe around here, especially not as a white, a young woman with walking with my hair out and with my hair shown and my bright eyes and everything else, and my wide booty, which by the way apparently is a hoot around here. I wasn't. This is really not my style. I just have to say that. But anyway, I don't feel safe due to the fact that I walk with my hair down, my hair out. It is perfectly acceptable to approach me, to ask me if I'm married, to ask me to give my phone number all the time, to hit on me every time, to think that because I have my hair down, here's something that happened to me because I had my hair down and because I was just walking into a shop, something and trying to buy something. Somebody, the shopkeeper thought it would be appropriate to just ask me to go with him outside the hotel. And he told me, "Oh, you don't have to worry. You're perfectly safe with me." Yeah. Sure I am. There isn't a service provider, a single service provider, with the exception of our chaperone from the company here that helps us. There isn't a single service provider that hasn't tried to hit on me. And it's not just being nice. It's at a point now that other people with us are just trying to, to shield me and protect me. I do not feel safe, and I do not like that. Because, and people also think that it's okay to touch me, where they wouldn't if I was a Muslim woman walking around with my hair covered and everything else. So I'm not liking this. I'm not liking this one bit. That's in terms of how do I feel walking around here. Do I feel safe? No, I do not. And that's too bad, because there's a lot to see here, and I would love to just come here on my own. As for anti-Semitism, I have to say that because we're being guarded all the time, we're being very heavily guarded with heavy security all the time. I haven't had the chance to talk to people about Israel. Also, the English of people here is very is not very good, and my Arabic isn't good enough to have a proper conversation. By the way, my fault. I'm really sorry that I didn't work on my Arabic enough to have a proper conversation, and it just I haven't had a chance to. I mean, this is something that I do, and I would have loved to have a serious conversation about that. I am hoping that on the last night I'm going to get to go to in Cairo. There is a coffee shop that I really want to go visit, and hopefully I could have some interesting conversation with people there. Don't know if I'll be able to record it, but I'll definitely be able to report it. So there is a lot to look forward to. Been to loads of temples. I'm pretty much templed out at this point. But also been to a lot of very interesting places, and really got to visit in the cities and just get a feeling, get a vibe. So yeah, there's Egypt is a lot to take, and I'm definitely going to come back here. I will say that I'm not enjoying being here. This is a third world country. It's very hard for me with food here because there are a lot of things that I don't eat. I do not feel safe. I probably have to have someone chaperoning me all the time and guarding me. But in terms of history and in terms of culture, there is still a lot for me to learn and understand, and I would like to investigate further. So that's my take so far. Tomorrow, there's a long drive. We're going to... and we're driving to Abu Simbel and back, so hopefully that'll be a good productive time for me to maybe edit some other videos that I took and haven't posted yet, and to share maybe more posts with you on social media. You guys, I'm really hoping you're enjoying these videos that I'm posting and all that information. If you do, do me a favor and please comment and let me know, because it means a lot to me. And also, when you comment, it helps me to know what is better to post and what isn't. So your input is appreciated. And now I'm going to go to sleep because I'm waking up in less than 6 hours. Say what? Anyway, good night, everybody.